Welcome to this edition of DDC's Vlog series. My name is Bob Hicks. I'll be your host today. As DDC's Chief Customer Officer, I manage all things post-sales and manufacturing. And my 26 years in the data center industry, running operations, coupled with almost 40 years of a career in IT, provides me a really good insight to our customers' needs. This episode gives me the pleasure of introducing and having an informative conversation with Ben Mitten, CEO and founder of Nuclei Data. I know a ton about your background and all the things you're able to do, but to give everybody a little bit better perspective, just take a minute or two to kind of share your experience and your background so people can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, so Ben Mitten, CEO of Nuclei Data. I've been in the data center industry for 25 years through a couple different pathways in my career. I started out as an electrical engineer by trade, working in consulting for data center projects. Moved into data centers about 15 years ago, where I was a facility engineer responsible for designing, managing, and building data centers for colocation operator. Moved quickly into data center operations, where I managed Mid-Atlantic region, where it was 10 data center sites, about 100 employees, and was responsible for the day-to-day management of those data centers. Moved through my career and into a sales role where I was responsible for a nationwide data center colocation platform, and then moved into Nuclei Data, which is our company today, where we provide subject matter expertise in the data center market for a litany of groups, whether it's data center development groups, IT companies that are looking to deploy high capacity compute data centers, or just providing some insight and information to somebody that's willing or wanting to learn about the data center industry.
Awesome. Thanks for that. I already knew pretty much everything you said, but always good to hear it, and I think it's helpful for everybody else to hear it. Obviously, I know, and you worked on some really impressive projects. I was wondering, can you share a highlight or two on, for instance, the Tier Point, Pennsylvania project, which I know you were incredibly involved in?
Absolutely. So that project was very, very challenging for our company at the time. It was a Herculean task to get 18 megawatts of critical load online in a very short time frame. We went from designing the data center through completion of construction in about 7 months. And that was at the beginning of the AI boom, I would say, the very beginning. Pre-planning that project was really, really important for the launch of that project. So substation upgrades and getting the site prepared to deploy that amount of capacity in a short amount of time. There was some planning that went into it years prior to make sure that the site was ready and prepared for that deployment to happen. And then I think execution of that project, making sure we had a great project plan pulled together, defining who our partners were from a construction and equipment perspective. It all had to come together in perfect harmony. And the background and the experience that I had really helped us catapult that into a very effective and efficient project at the end of the day. Certainly were hurdles and challenges, but I think the team at the end of the day really came through and was effectively able to complete the project on time and on budget.
Yeah, I've certainly seen it in person. It's an incredibly impressive work of art, quite frankly. So, congrats to you and the team. It's just an excellent job. I want to make sure we talk a little bit about Nuclei Data. Obviously, we know you're the founder, right, and CEO. Congratulations on that. And generally speaking, like, what kind of challenges are you helping customers solve today? What are they coming to you with, right? For example.
Yeah, so we're spending a lot of time with development groups and IT end users to kind of match up capabilities of sites with end user needs. The off-taker need is significant in the market at this point, and there's a large amount of data center opportunities out in the market. It's really defining the due diligence process and making sure those sites can effectively be built. And I think the challenge that we're seeing is, what is the ultimate solution inside the data center that is going to drive the rest of the project? We used to be able to build data centers from the outside in. Now we've effectively had to flip the script and push it to an inside out solution. And that is a really challenging thing for the market, and a gap that I've seen that we've been able to kind of help fill as a subject matter experts in the industry. The IT folks have a different language, and the infrastructure folks have a different language. I like to say we're kind of the translator of the two. Everyone's speaking English, but they're talking past each other. We have the ability to kind of talk to both parties and bring the teams together to find that effective solution.
Yeah, that makes sense, and I like the reference going from outside in to inside out. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect way to lay it out. So I think you really already touched on this, but the work is really being evolved with it in and around the AI and high density compute world, right? Really um, I'm assuming, I'd like you to expand or confirm anyway, the GPU ready concept, AI farms and or, instances, and then just in general, high density computing. Um, I'm assuming now again, your work
Yeah.
has really been driven by that recently.
Yeah, we've got a very, very heavy focus right now on what AI data center deployments look like. So direct liquid to chip solutions, um, high capacity air cooled solutions are still very much out there. The GPU capabilities with air cooled solutions are important as the direct liquid to chip kind of finds its own, which is still occurring. But we continue to see those densities rise. So we anticipate the designs to continue and evolve and change.
Yeah.
And it's very, very important that Nuclei, we keep up with what those evolving changes are. But it all resolves around, what is the GPU need? And until we have those answers, we can't design the rest of the infrastructure. We can make some really good assumptions, and we base a lot of our basis of design on some high level assumptions based on block designs. But it really comes back to, what is the GPU capacity requirement down at a per rack level?
Yep.
And that's what we're heavily focused on understanding, to make sure that everything else, the magic sauce, happens because that one component need is met.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And in our world,
Yeah.
we're working the same situation at that rack level. And to that point, I know you're no stranger to the DDC Solutions product set and have a really deep hands-on experience with it. So if you could just briefly share maybe what stood out about the product, performance and or design wise.
Yeah, I got the pleasure of working with DDC at the ground level on the engineering side. So my curiosity of being, a power engineer and understanding what the DDC technology can provide to the market really had me intrigued at the beginning of learning about the product. I've gotten a chance to put my little fingerprint on the DDC solution. When we did the tech park project, we saw a lot of areas of improvement that we provided that feedback to DDC. And the best part about it is we got to see that get implemented in future phases of the DDC product. So one thing that really stuck out for me outside of the technology is providing feedback, and then the team takes that and really puts that into practice. You don't get that with a lot of vendors in the market. They just sell their product, and their product's their product. I think DDC, the people that are on that team, really provide a level of service that you don't get to see in the rest of the market. On the technical side, the precision cooling technology was what I felt really, really stuck out. The fact that you can put a 50 kW or 100 kW cabinet next to a 10 kW cabinet and not have to worry about what flow tiles that you need in the data center are starting to space out the data center. I thought that was a pretty impactful situation at the beginning of the projects as we started looking at the DDC technology. So that really stuck out for me as, the product is, a box, data center in a box, I called it. Yep. And you could really dial in the need based on what the requirement is down at the fan level and the GPU level. And I haven't seen a product outside of the DDC technology that really dials it into that level. So that is really what stuck out for me as a product piece.
Well, I appreciate you recognize it. I appreciate you mentioning it, and we all certainly appreciate you participating in it. Your insight and feedback, coupled with our engineering team, really resulted in the next generation of the cabinet that we are currently marketing today. And performance has doubled from just that 18-month ago area. Or time era,
and that's a phenomenal phenomenal scenario that you've gotten it to that point so quickly. Especially in the market that we're in, you have to be very dynamic, and you have to be willing to change and flex and grow, because the market need today is not going to be the market need in 6 months. So how as a company are you addressing that? And it shows with DDC in the team that you guys built and the performance of the cabinet.
Okay, so a little bit beyond specific projects and or work together. We're out each doing our own marketing and trying to help people solve problems. One of the interesting things is greenfield versus retrofit. They are two very different things. I was thinking about your comment about inside out versus outside in. So that's where the script flips back to the old model. Like, you already have the box. Now what are you going to do with it? Are people coming to you asking, 15-year-old data centers built to, say, I don't know, 200 watts a square foot, or 5 kW on average per cab? Are they asking you how to turn those into 50s, for example?
Yeah, I would say one of our biggest challenges is with the existing data center infrastructure today. There's a large capacity out there that can be re-leveraged for AI workloads, but they were designed 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Data centers that were designed aren't really AI ready. This has been a evolving situation since about 2.5, 3 years ago. So the challenge continues to be, how can I leverage our existing infrastructure, grow that infrastructure to a point where we can be deploying 50 to 100 kW cabinets in a data center. And it's really, really challenging when you have to start looking at floor plenum sizes, airflow requirements, water requirements in the data center. That used to be a huge, never do that. Now we're plugging water into the back of the cabinets.
It's crazy. But
So it's completely changed the way people are viewing and looking at, data centers. So how can we design effectively an existing data center down to the level that we can put a 100 kW cabinet inside of that, without having to, give up floor space? Because that's what a lot of folks had to do about a year and a half, 2 years ago, is give up the floor space,
Yep.
so that the cabinet could be cooled effectively and not get impacted by high temperature alarms. So I think bringing it back to the DDC technology, it gives that existing data center the ability to deploy a one-off type of scenario or a 2 to 3 cabinet scenario for those enterprises that are starting to test their AI workloads. It gives those data centers the capability of putting that solution in place and not having to, move an entire workload over to a new data center, because quite frankly, that's a very difficult task to achieve. So I love the DDC product that gets it down to the rack level, not necessarily the data center level.
Yeah, it makes sense. And yeah, it was a cardinal sin to put water in the data center, right? And here we are. So excellent point.
Yes.
Um, just one more, topic, and we'll get it wrapped up here. We all got things to move on to. The We've been talking about, people with specific projects they're trying to solve, at hand problems today. But with an eye to the future, it's important to make good decisions now that don't cause you to throw away that time and money in a year or two from now, right? So in the
Mm-hmm.
DVC world, we like to use the word future proofing, um, and then of course scale in general scalable cooling infrastructure.
Yeah.
Um, so when you think about that, what are some of the smarter decisions you think people should focus on? What's a good one or two items that you make this mistake, it's going to cost you millions inside of 2 years, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll take a step back for the investors that are putting money into these markets right now.
Sure.
These are 20-year assets that we're trying to build. And to scrap that after 5 years is crazy. We're talking about $10+ million a megawatt.
Hmm.
And when you multiply that times 50 megawatts, it's a significant construction project. And making sure that we're planning for the future, but we're also addressing the here and now, with the future in mind. It all comes back to space planning and building out the appropriate footprint and knowing what the design evolutions could be for your building or for your infrastructure, and knowing that you can handle that in the future. And that's a big piece that we at Nuclei spend a lot of time on. We've developed a 25 megawatt block that, in that same footprint, can we build 50 megawatts in the future and then design around that block design? And that's something that, from a scalable perspective, we know that the financial folks aren't going to build out 50 megawatts because the need isn't there today.
Sure.
But we need to be able to support that need 5 years from now, because the densities continue to rise. I saw a cabinet the other day that's a megawatt in a cabinet footprint.
Yep.
And as a power engineer, I sit there and say, wow, that's a lot of power in such a small space.
Yeah.
But the industry requirements are evolving and requiring us to kind of manage appropriately around those density increases. So it really comes back to planning, engineering, and making sure you've got the right solution in place, that as that evolution changes, you're not ripping out all your infrastructure and having to start fresh, because that is would be such a difficult pill to swallow if you had that solution in place for the here and now.
Yep.
So designing and future proofing your data centers from Nuclei's perspective is a requirement day one, and something that we put into every single one of our designs to make sure the footprint and the solution that we put in place meets the evolving needs of the market.
Couldn't agree more. You hit some of my topics in that explanation. DDC scalability, in place upgrading. It's not a pull out and scrap concept. It certainly fits into those concepts and requirements you talked about, and you really hit kind of the top couple of things. Really, design flexibility, in place upgrade. All those things are the must haves if you're going to spend a
Must.
$500 million, right? you got
Mhm.
you got to do it in the right way. So I appreciate all of that. Hey, look, let's just wrap it up. First, again, thanks. It's just really always good to talk to you as an old friend and colleague. Let's make sure people understand where they can learn more about Nuclei. Where can they learn more about Nuclei
Sure.
Data?
Yeah, so visiting our website and reaching out and contacting us. We've got a growing team of subject matter experts in the market, all the way from due diligence of properties up through program management and planning of data centers, and then the execution of those data center approaches. That's something that we're providing, that level of service and subject matter expertise, basically through the process to get you to a turnkey solution, so that you can move into operations quickly. Something that I hear every day: speed to market is critical.
Yeah.
So how can we impact a speed to market solution while effectively planning for the future of data centers and what their needs are, is something that we take very seriously at Nuclei, to make sure that our brand is very, very defined, that we can provide a great subject matter expertise to really anybody that's interested in the data center market. We also love to just share and educate. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. We love talking to people about their challenges, and we learn something new every day. And that's what's really great about this market and this industry, is it's evolving every day, and we get to teach and learn and grow together.
Awesome. Share your website with everybody so they can find you.
So it is www.nucleidata.com.
Awesome. Pretty simple. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Again, my friend, thank you. Always a pleasure. And, we just really
Great
appreciate it.
talking to you today.
You too, buddy. Okay, folks, thanks for joining. We will see you next time on DDC's Vlog series. Thank you.
Take care.